Divinewood University recognises lay police boss. New Zealand trade delegation in country to talk trade. And Madang MP takes on Electoral Commission.
This is the National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Tuesday's news. The 2018 Distinguished Divinewood University Alumni Award has been awarded to Lay Metropolitan Commander Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi Jr. Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi is a former student who graduated from Divinewood Institute in 1994. He was given recognition for his service to the community and to the country.
Under the leadership of the former DW President Father Jan Zuba, the university launched the idea of Alumni Wall of Honor. This is to recognize the contribution of distinguished former students for significant contributions made in one of the three areas, including professional excellence in their career. DW alumni include all persons who had passed through the Divinewood High School since 1968, Divinewood Institute, and the Divinewood University since 1996.
Professional excellence in their career which brings honor to themselves, our country, and to the university by association. Secondly, significant development project that benefits their rural community. Or thirdly, significant personal or professional contribution to the Divinewood University.
Anthony Gregory Yawingu Wagambi Jr. graduated from Divinewood Institute in 1994 with a grade 12 qualification. He also graduated in Divinewood University in 2007 with a diploma in management. The chief superintendent is a third-generation policeman. Both his father and grandfather also served in the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary.
We've got so many people, I can't name all of them, but Divinewood has produced a lot of people who have contributed immensely to this country. For me to receive this award, I'm very humble because there are many other people who rightfully deserve to be awarded Alumni of the Year. And I'm humble that the committee has picked me.
Mr. Wagambi Jr. in his career has held very senior positions in the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary in PNG. He also served as a mobile squad commander in Eastern Highlands and NCD respectively. He also served as the provincial police commander for Madang province for 6 years and was later transferred to East New Britain as the provincial police commander. And from November 2015 to date, he is serving as the Lay Metropolitan Commander.
Yes, for us, we were taught and we were given a commitment to serve. I joined the police right after graduating from grade 12, and I was an 18-year-old turning going on to 19 when I joined the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary in 1995. That is my first and only job. I've never left. I've been around doing this job for the last 23 years now.
Due to his outstanding quality and the service he has provided, the Chief Superintendent is held in high regard by his colleagues and the community he has served. He was awarded for the DW Distinguished Award in recognition of his outstanding career achievements and service to the society. Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
One of East New Britain's leading history researcher and pioneer software engineer, Gideon Kakabin, passed away yesterday in Canberra, Australia. Mr. Kakabin died from a heart attack. He was scheduled to undergo heart surgery tomorrow. Late Kakabin has become a renowned history researcher who has documented and published written histories about the first Christian missionaries, the world wars and the heritage of the East New Britain province. He was temporarily attached with the Australian War Memorial in Canberra at the time of his death. Late Gideon Kakabin was described by many as a great storyteller and an epic pillar of historical knowledge. Delegates from New Zealand met with the Minister for Trade, Commerce and Industry, Wera Mori, to discuss business opportunities between New Zealand and Papua New Guinea today. The New Zealand PNG Business Council's mission to Port Moresby came at a crucial time.
While overall conditions have made recent years more challenging for the trade relationship between Papua New Guinea and other countries, there are clear signs of an economic upturn, and recent business commentary has become positive.
Of course, like energy, like water, and accessibilities are now ever more present in PNG than ever before. We are opening up new roads simply for the fact that the new roads are new corridors that open up new business opportunities for our people.
The minister also said, according to the Electoral Accord, one of the pillars was to grow Papua New Guinea. Therefore, it has to open up for entrepreneurs to come in. As PNG enters the next cycle, there is a desire to see New Zealand play a more prominent role in the region.
The relationship in the future needs to be about more than governments. It needs to be about private sector cooperation and private sector partnerships. So I'm very pleased as the newly installed chair of the New Zealand Papua New Guinea Business Council to bring to this country a group of people who are senior business players, some of whom have got long-standing interests in your country.
Michelle Stephen, National EMTV News.
The Civil Aviation Safety Authority has confirmed that the Hayfield airstrip in Maprik, East Sepik Province is ready to use. The airstrip was opened recently with the landing of the first plane as a test run on the airstrip. Maprik MP John Simon was pleased to make the announcement yesterday.
After a test flight on Saturday by Air Sangha from Port Moresby to Hayfield, CASA have given the OK for the airstrip to be used. For Maprik, being the service center for almost all districts in East and West Sepik provinces, the airstrip will be a very big help for businesses. He said the airstrip can be used by small aircrafts, and they will be speaking with Air Niugini for Link PNG to have access to the airstrip.
Though we have a very strong economy in Maprik, banking service was a problem. And we had conversations with the bank managers, the banks, and one of the problems the bank told me is, they said, remember, we're having problem in handling cash. If only there can be a airport close by, we would extend other services as well. And I'm happy to inform the banks and everyone that Hayfield Airport or airstrip is now given the OK. There is no more restrictions on Hayfield. It's ready to be used.
Simon said the total cost of the upgrade is 5 million kina, of which 3 million comes from the Prime Minister and 2 million from DSIP. He added that business houses in Maprik have also agreed to help build a terminal and upgrade the 1.1 kilometer runway to 1.6 kilometers.
The Hayfield airstrip, the Hayfield airport would be, it's a relief for the people, for us. So Air Sangha has promised us that next week, towards the end of this week, they've got a twin otter. They will leave it up in Maprik. So it will do Maprik, Hayfield, Wanimo, Hayfield.
John Simon said the airstrip will be officially open when the Prime Minister visits Maprik in the next few weeks. He urged the people of Maprik to look after the service because it will look after them in the long run. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
Madang MP Brian Kremer has filed a criminal complaint with the National Fraud Squad against Electoral Commissioner Patiles Gamato for election fraud during the Southern Highlands elections. Kremer said that due to the case being dismissed, a substantive trial was not held, and evidence that was supposed to be presented was dismissed along with the election petition. He described the conduct of the Electoral Commissioner as questionable during the declaration for the Southern Highlands governor's seat.
Madang MP Brian Kremer believes the irregularities could have been picked up if the Southern Highlands election petition had gone to trial.
Unfortunately, it never went to a substantive trial where the court can consider all the evidence in relation to the declaration, the irregularity of the declaration that was being challenged. But I, having considered the observations by the court in a judgment after they dismissed the petition, and also the evidence in relation to the circumstance of the declaration. And it was my view that this was amounted to election fraud, and on that basis I filed a complaint with the National Fraud Squad Office.
He said he would allow the National Fraud Squad to investigate the conduct of the Electoral Commissioner.
File a complaint so they can act on that complaint. I will give them sufficient time, as this matter relates to a constitutional office, for them to carry their own independent investigation and whether to consider whether or not to take action, or to process the matter, or take the matter further in relation to filing charges or not. That is a matter of constitutional powers of police, and I'll let them do that.
But as always, Kramer has a plan B, taking Gamato to the National Court.
And the last option I have is filing a National Court proceedings in the National Court under Section 23 of the Constitution that provides for sanctions where the Constitution imposes a duty against any constitutional office holder, and if that person fails or ignores that duty, then the Constitution provides for both criminal or a fine sanctions, so up to 10 years imprisonment or 10,000 kina fine.
Kramer says as a Member of Parliament, it is his constitutional duty to uphold the Constitution.
Extremely concerning, not only as whether I'm from the Southern Highlands or for every Papua New Guinean and every legislative office holder, and so includes myself, the member for Madang, that we uphold the Constitution. So every Member of Parliament swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, including myself. And so this matter relates to elections, which is a constitutional office, and an office created through the Constitution to ensure that there'd be free and fair elections.
But the issue of Southern Highlands Province Governor's seat has already seen lives being lost, Mendi Town in chaos, and the torching of an Air Niugini Dash-8 plane. Kramer says if Gamato had done his job right, such situations would have not happened.
Had the decision by the Electoral Commissioner to uphold the law and follow and conduct a free and fair election in the Southern Highlands wouldn't have led to the deaths that were loss of life that was called, the mayhem and the burning of an aircraft. This was all because people in the Southern Highlands had lost faith in the election process. That was basically what caused it. There was an issue of trust had been lost in terms of how the elections were conducted and also how the Office of the Electoral Commissioner conducted himself.
This isn't the first time Kramer has laid a complaint against someone holding a constitutional office. In April, Kramer laid a complaint against NCD Governor Powers Pakop in relation to the infamous yoga saga. Adelaide Siraxkari, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We go for our first break now, but stay tuned. We'll be back with more of the day's other stories. Welcome back to the news. Landowners of the Kainantu mine in the Eastern Highlands are currently in Lae to discuss the memorandum of agreement that will determine how benefits are shared. The mine was formerly operated by Canadian company Barrick. Under a new management, the landowners are looking to get a better deal through the arrangements.
This time last year, the Kainantu mine was the scene of violence after landowners shut down the mine following a dispute over benefits and the review of the existing MOA. The disagreement flared into a full-blown attack on the company premises after the new operator would not honor agreements made when Barrick operated the mine. Today, a Kama group of landowners gathered in Lae for the review of the memorandum of agreement.
They wanted this review to be to commence as soon as possible, but due to LTC matters that were still pending and other technical issues that has actually dragged on the MOA review. But
the meeting is being facilitated by the Mineral Resources Authority. The MRA is hoping that the landowners will have a firm agreement on what they expect as benefits that will come from the mine.
It's a mine review meeting between the parties of Kainantu mine. That is the state, Eastern Highlands provincial government, the landowners of Kainantu, the Bilimoya landowners, and the affected LLGs of Kainantu district. So,
on the surface, much of what needs to be discussed has been discussed. The sticking point is the need to determine the landowning clans through a Land Titles Commission. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lae.
A finance company has expanded operations against the backdrop of tough economic times, opening their first provincial office in Lae today. Managing Director of MoneyPlus said despite the economic situation, their operations have been gradually growing with over 150 employed staff. Apart from providing personal loans, they will also be providing foreign exchange services, amongst others. The new office is located in Top Town at the Marbe House, formerly known as Vele Romana.
This morning, officials from the government and business houses in Lae gathered to witness the opening of MoneyPlus' first provincial office in Lae. Present was the Morbe Governor Ginson Saonu, MoneyPlus Board Directors Say Brown Bai and owner Bernard Chan. After a short ceremony, Governor Saonu officially opened the office. Whilst much of the country has been hit by the tough economic situation, Managing Director Gajanan Bave says business has been gradually growing. This has led to their expansion to other provinces in the country.
We've been continually growing because of our services to the people, our turnaround time to the people. So that's why people come to us.
MoneyPlus products include personal loans for people in both the public and private sector. However, many customers are public servants.
They get loan for education services, health problems, then bride price, funeral expenses, time logolo malalo emkisim loan too.
MoneyPlus or Heduru Money Limited started in 1998 with 10 staff and now has over 150 staff. The Lae office is the first provincial office to be established. Outlets in Mount Hagen, Kokopo and Alota will be opened in the coming months, with plans to expand to other provinces as well. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Lae.
2 policemen accused of assaulting a teenager in Kimbe, West New Britain province were today arrested and charged. In a statement by Police Commissioner Garibaki, the 2 officers were charged with assault occasioning bodily harm under the Criminal Code Act, following investigations by the Police Internal Affairs Directorate. They were also charged administratively with 4 serious disciplinary charges under the Police Force Act and suspended from active duty. Commissioner Baki appealed to all members of the constabulary not to abuse their powers and authority whilst performing their duties. The 2 police officers are attached to the Police Airborne Tactical Unit. The second round of polio vaccinations for Morbe province began yesterday and will end on the 2nd of next month. The campaign in Lae for Ward 1 area began at Eriku and continued to Nawai Block today. The health officer heading the team, Joan Juwagi, said a mop-up activity will continue over the weekend for those who have missed out on the polio vaccination.
At the Nawai market in Lae, parents stood with their children under umbrellas for their children to be immunized this morning. Since yesterday, nearly 600 children have been vaccinated. The target is 1,200.
Our rules is to make sure that all of them get the second round of the round 2, the second drop of the round 2 program. So we still have to go back and make sure that, because we have the tallies and we have our program, so if we see that we're less than that number, that target, we're still gonna go back and make sure that we cover all the child and reach our target again.
2 weeks.
According to Morbe's health advisor Micah Yawing, there has only been 1 confirmed polio case in the province and 3 suspected cases. This polio campaign is the health department's response to the current outbreak of polio virus in PNG after 8 years of being polio-free. The first round was held from 16th July to 3rd August. Over 100,000 children were vaccinated in Morbe province.
Once they have that virus and once they are affected, there is no treatment for the disease. So that's why we're saying that it's very important for them, especially the kids below that 5 years. We must make sure that we save them.
The health workers in the province will conduct mop-up activities over the weekend for those who have missed out. Sister Juwagi said they will do a recheck and make sure no child has missed out. The 3rd and 4th round will continue in September through to October. She has called on the parents to make time available to bring their children under 5 years old for the vaccination to protect them from polio. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Leh.
The Institute of Medical Research carried out research on the prevention of parent-to-child HIV transmission and young girls living with HIV. The research was carried out in Port Moresby and Goroka. The presentation of the findings included the viewing of a documentary, Young and Positive, at the National AIDS Secretariat office in Port Moresby yesterday.
To support the research, a workshop was staged to highlight issues affecting adolescent girls and young women living with HIV to come out and share their stories to the world. The workshop was facilitated by Agnes Mack, who carried out the photo voice method to address public health and other social issues, including HIV, among young women.
In total, we had interviewed approximately 30 girls. In the photo voice, we had 5 young girls and plus 4 mentor mothers. So a total of 9 women in the young girls and women in the photo voice. And then in the focus group discussions, we had another 25, both in Goroka and in Port Moresby.
For a HIV-positive mother to give birth, it is very complicated.
Goroka and Port Moresby, whilst we say they have PPT-CT programs, they are not the same program. They are actually not operationalised in the same way. In Port Moresby General Hospital, the antenatal clinic cares for a woman until she's 6 weeks postpartum. Then the mother and the baby's care is separated. The baby goes to the paediatric clinic, new staff, new building, and the woman then has to go off to an adult ART prescribing centre.
Most of the young women living with HIV/AIDS said they were very happy with the VCT sites and hospitals that they went to because instead of discriminating against them, they helped.
Best service time long delivering baby no site long separating baby colonat plus clinic blogen net best.
Michelle Steven, National EMTV News.
Big Rooster has committed 250,000 kina towards the PNG Fashion Week. Part of this support will involve 50 scholarships for models and designers under the courses of Information Technology, Human Resource Management and Accounting and Marketing. The cheque was presented to PNG Fashion Week Managing Director Phil McKelligai today by Big Rooster's Chairman Salim Chamadia.
Mr. Chamadia said Big Rooster has always been keen on supporting the development of young Papua New Guineans. He said the support towards the PNG Fashion Week was mainly because the event supported youngsters, particularly through modeling. Mr. Chamadia said this support would add to the many opportunities that these young people were exposed to.
Economy is very hard. At the moment, there is no marketing budget with any corporate, including us. But this is one opportunity where we realized that she's got really good program where we can actually get these kids with some lifestyle skill. So major portion of that 250,000 will be going towards scholarship and sponsorship. So we will not be spending a lot of money on other activities. It will be all utilized, which will bring economic benefit.
The PNG Fashion Week was launched last month. It is a premier national fashion, cultural and social platform in the calendar year. It is a biennial event, summer season and spring season. The spring season of the event will be staged from October 25th to the 27th. PNG Fashion Week's Managing Director Phil McKelligai said the preparations towards the event was hectic and exciting.
Our models are awesome. They're all getting into shape because I'm very strict. So punctuality is what we're working on right now. But in terms of preparation, it's just a repeat, and it's a great platform that we have already set up. So it's exciting though. We're getting a lot of interest, a lot of new designers are signing up, and yeah, just rolling out with the plan.
Ms. Kellegai said Big Rooster's support was significant because besides the exposure in the fashion industry, models and designers would have the opportunity to acquire certified qualifications. She thanked Big Rooster for the support and hoped for such partnerships in the future. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News.
Your Tuesday's news coming up next. Stories making headlines overseas. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, after decades apart, dozens of families from North and South Korea have held emotional reunions. They were the winners of a ballot which picked families split by the Korean War. One mother, who's in her 90s, last saw her son when he was only 4, and tonight will be the last time they meet.
After more than 60 years apart, it can be hard to find the words. Some just throw themselves in their brother's arms. Others offer a deep bow. I remember how beautiful you were, says one sister to another, as they try to recognise features not seen in decades. Earlier, as she prepared to head north, 92-year-old Lee Gum-sim couldn't stop thinking about what she would do when she saw her son. He was only 4 years old when they were separated.
I'm hoping to throw my arms around my grown-up son. I think I would like to ask, where and how were you? Who did you live with?
More than 80,000 civilians have already left.
Mrs. Lee was one of thousands caught in the chaos as refugees tried to head south at the end of the war in 1953. She lost sight of her husband and son as she was put on a boat. Within days, the border was closed. She was trapped in the south, her family in the north. When the moment came, it took only one glance for her to break into a run. For now, all thoughts are on these first precious hours together, even though they both know they're also likely to be their last. Cho Sin-chun knows what these families are going through. This frail 83-year-old had her one chance 3 years ago. Over 50,000 are still waiting to see their loved ones.
It was so good to meet them, but when I was separated from them, it was worse than not meeting them at all. My sisters kept saying how hard it was living in North Korea. It broke my heart.
These are the human faces of the Korean conflict. A symbol of an enduring bond between the two nations, but also a reminder of the pain of decades of division with no end in sight.
Now to the US, some sexual abuse survivors and their families have welcomed the Pope's letter with its powerful condemnation and promise of no more cover-ups. But to others, it's just more noise and meaningless talk, and they want the church to act. From Pennsylvania to Chile, the sex abuse survivors are also speaking out. They want predator priests to stand trial and the guilty to do jail time.
There is no way that any child in this situation should be left behind and not be given their day in court. Their voices need to be heard, and if he is that appalled over this behavior, do something about it. Make sure that statute of limitations is passed, and immediately. You have the power and you have the money. Do it.
To just tell me you're transparent, to just tell me you're standing by my side, to wait this long to come forward when this knowledge has been in the church for many, many years, falls way short of any kind of vindication or comfort for me. I can't reconciliate with the Catholic Church until the bishops, the cardinals, and the Pope makes it stand and wipes out this problem within the church.
Once a high-ranking official in the Catholic Church in Chile, former priest Oscar Munoz Toledo now faces charges for the alleged sexual abuse of 7 minors. He is the first priest arrested in a scandal that is believed to involve more than 200 alleged victims and threatens to further blacken the church's name in Chile. Munoz's lawyer disputes the charges against his client. Chilean prosecutors have been conducting raids on church buildings following an internal Vatican report that said for decades church officials in Chile had known about cases of sexual abuse and led a massive cover-up, even destroying records.
We found evidence of the destruction of documents, and that, aside from being circumstantial evidence of a cover-up itself, that's also a crime. That could be a crime of concealment or of destruction of information.
In January, while visiting Chile, Pope Francis defended a Chilean bishop accused of concealing the abuse, saying he had been, quote, slandered. But after Vatican investigators said church officials in Chile had helped to cover up tens of cases of sexual abuse by the clergy, the Pope apologized and met with some of their victims. All 34 of Chile's bishops were summoned to Rome, where they offered the Pope their resignations, the first mass resignation in the history of the Church. The Pope ultimately accepted the resignations of 5 bishops, including that of the bishop he had defended. But prosecutors say the Church is still failing to cooperate with her investigations. Accuser Juan Carlos Cruz met with the Pope, but said the Church's actions are falling short.
Here, these Chilean bishops convinced us what was happening were sins or failings. No, they are crimes and felonies, and they should pay with jail time.
Chilean prosecutors say there are 158 bishops, priests, and lay people under investigation. It's still not clear how many, if any, will pay for their alleged crimes.
You're at National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. There will be 3 volleyball national championships in September. PNG Volleyball Association President Kayla Dick made the announcement during a sponsorship presentation by Prima Small Goods.
President of the PNG Volleyball Federation, Kayla Dick, said they will be hosting the 3 national championships with Prima Small Goods sponsoring the Under-21 national championships.
National Open Volleyball Championship and the National Open Volleyball Championship will be held from the 14th to the 17th. 17th is public holiday, so we've captured it. The other championship is the Beach Volleyball Championship, and we've locked in Beach Volleyball Championship from the 18th to the 19th of September. And then straight after that is the Under-21 National Championship, which will be held in Leh. And we're very grateful to UN Gulf Volleyball Association to connect us with the Premier Small Goods, making this another successful event for us so far as sponsorship concerned.
Prima Small Goods representative Alan Anis said they were happy to sponsor the championship, which will be hosted by the UN Gulf Association in Leh.
Prima Small Goods is one of the local manufacturers in the country who produce meat, and it gets beyond us supporting all the core of sports in the country. It's getting beyond Prima UN Gulf Volleyball Association, supporting for almost 10 years, and spent about 30 to 40,000 so far.
Played all over PNG, needing just a net, ball and 2 posts, it's become the most popular sport in the country.
As far as the PNG Sports Foundation's survey report, it's the most popular sport in this country. And therefore, we want to build upon that and give mileage to our sporting young talent right throughout the country to be able to leverage their talent so that they can be able to rise up to the occasion.
Fairly Sukina, National EMTV Sports.
400-meter gold medalist at the PNG Games and Pacific Mini Games last year, Benjamin Aliel, was awarded a 2-year scholarship by PNG beneficiaries of Oceania Foundation scholarships to take up studies at Southwestern College in Iowa. His running qualities were recognized by Athletics PNG in 2014, but with strong competition for places in the national team for the 2015 Games, he had to wait for the opportunity to represent his country. Training under coach Alan Akia, Aliel produced a series of outstanding performances at the National Championships in Goroka, the PNG Games in Kimbe, and at the Pacific Mini Games in Vanuatu. Meanwhile, Athletics PNG currently has 12 of its athletes in USA colleges, including Theo Piniao, who quietly returned to Texas over the weekend to resume his studies at Western Texas A&M University after a 2-year break. World welterweight Muay Thai champion Lee Garup, who successfully defended and retained his world title on home soil, told EMTV Sport Today that he is planning to leave his doors open to international meets, but for now he will take a break and focus on promoting his fighters to also attend international bouts.
after successfully defeating his opponent U10 Chanavan of Thailand in front of a home crowd.
2-minute interval breaks.
Two-time world welterweight Muay Thai champion Lee Garup, who now holds the PNG national title and 2 international titles, says the feeling of retaining his title was overwhelming. He says winning the title on home soil was a dream come true and one he didn't doubt for a second.
And I can't explain it. The tears just falling off from my eyes now. It's a nice feeling, you know, putting PNG back-to-back undisputed world Muay Thai champions history. I think it's the highest level of professional sports in PNG I went through now. Big achievement that. Thank you, Lord. Yeah.
He says despite being a little nervous going into the fight, he was able to physically take out U10.
I think he knocked me down on the second round or something with the right cross. Yeah, he's got really good hands too. Yeah, he's a boxer too. So yeah. But the fight at the first round we were going slow. But I still lead by points when I watched the video back. I would lead by the second round. I still lead by points. And I knew that the guy, he know that I was smart. So he getting smart at changing his style of fighting. So I really wanted to get more points. So I was coming back strong on the third round and fourth round, yeah.
Lee says it's the support of his sponsors, his fans and his family and the determination of believing in himself which paid off in the end. Lee says with so much interest from individuals willing to join his club, he says he'll have to look out for a bigger space to conduct training and mentoring sessions.
I wanted to rest a bit, but I see what I can do, but I wanted to do something different from Thai boxing. Because now I'm defending it, it's like I own the title now. So I don't need to defend it again. Yeah, if someone wants to fight for it, they need to give me a right pace to fight for it. If not, I can market it before, but for other fighters to fight for it. Yeah, so I'm trying to do something different. So maybe I'm looking into MMA. Yeah, but I'll see how I'll go. Yeah.
Lee says he is looking forward to helping his fighters prepare for an international event this December that will give them an opportunity to also expose and display their skills to an international audience. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sport. The SPPNG Hunters take on the CQ Cuppers in what will be one of their most important matches of the season. They will be fighting to keep their spot in the top 6 to secure a placing in the finals.
The SPPNG Hunters have a tough task ahead as they face the CQ Cuppers this weekend in their round 24 clash. A short turnaround this week has seen them have only one training session today, focusing more on defense.
We come in and we look at our defensive efforts and those little things around the ruck area, making sure that we dominate, we win the ruck areas from our contact to the groundwork, and then our line speed, getting there, applying pressure to the kickers on the fourth, fifth, and so on. So we're working hard on those patches, and also just making sure we complete our sets.
William Minoga will miss this weekend's match after sustaining a groin injury last week. Apart from Minoga, there are no other injury concerns.
We have the minor, those niggling injuries where boys come up with bumps and bruises, and it's just managing it over the next couple of days. So a couple of ankles and cork ties and things like that, but it's nothing new. It's part of that, part of the physicality of the game.
Thompson Tete returns to the starting lineup after missing last weekend's match. They have named an unchanged lineup from last week, which sees Watson Boas named on the bench.
Running with the same team that got the win over the weekend. Watson also provides that versatility in the different positions with Charlie and to cover for Watovo and Ase. So I'm going with the same side that got the points on the weekend.
The team travels to Australia on Thursday, where they will have another training session before their Saturday night clash. Elijah Lavette, National EMTV Sports.
SP Hunters versatile back Alex Wera will play his 100th game for the team this weekend. Wera is Hunter number 6 and joined the team in 2014. SP Hunters assistant coach Nigel Hukula congratulated Wera for this milestone.
So he brings up his 10-year century. That's, it's commitment and hard work over the last 5 years to be consistent in being part of the squad since the inception. He's a very reliable player. He's had his ups and downs with suspensions and injuries, but consistency has brought him this far. So we're very pleased for him, and I'm sure his family as well, for his dedication and hard work towards making his 100.
Brody Redelic showed in the first Bledisloe test why he's called the best lock in world rugby. Some of his All Blacks teammates couldn't resist bringing the 2-metre giant they call Guzzler back to earth as they focus on improvements for their rematch with the wounded Wallabies side at Eden Park.
The problem with such a dominant performance,
has there been a bigger standout influence on a game by a bloke in the number 4 jersey,
is following it up. But Brody Retallick doesn't complicate things. Maybe that's why he was able to play like this after 11 months out of the black jersey.
For me, it's about going out and having fun and throwing the ball around with your mates.
I just love the fact he just went out there and he just immediately just trusted what he can do and what he can't do.
But is there anything he can't do? This dummy is being called one of, if not the best, by an All Black forward. Just ask his teammates.
His head can inflate quite quickly, so it's just our role to try and bring him back down to ground. Yeah, he reads a lot of his own articles and stuff like that, so that's the danger, yeah.
Has he got that right, or?
He's way off the mark there. I wouldn't listen to what he's got to say.
But in all seriousness, the All Blacks are looking for major improvements from their own set piece, needing a steady platform for a new midfield combination. Anton Leonard-Brown is nursing a minor leg injury, but is pushing hard to fill in for Ryan Crotty.
When he first came in, played a bit at 12 and then played a bit at 13, and people probably took that for granted, but I thought he adapted to test match level in both positions really, really well.
Almost 2 years ago to the day, Leonard-Brown started on debut in the second Bledisloe test, ironically after Crotty was concussed in Sydney. Crotty missed one game, then made his comeback for Canterbury against Northland. Could he do it again this time?
Yes, see how it goes. You got a good memory.
This time around could be more complicated, but the All Blacks say any decision on his future will be made by him and no one else.
And that ends Shukai Sports. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Shukai Sports. Shukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A look at the weather forecast for this afternoon and tonight. In the southern region, cloudy periods in Port Moresby and Kerema, mostly fine. In Daru and Alotau, rain drizzles in Popondetta. In the Momasa region, rain showers in Lae, Medang, Wewak and Vanimore. Rain, although cloudy, in Wau. In the New Guinea Islands region, rain showers in Lorengau and Kavieng, a shower or two in Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, and fine weather in Buka. And in the Highlands region, rain drizzles and fog in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg. Forecast for small ships. There is a renewal strong wind warning for all coastal waters. Strong southeast winds 25 to 34 knots are expected to continue for the next 24 hours, causing rough seas. All small craft and boats are advised to take necessary precautions before and after going out to sea during this period. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and to Hood Point to Samari Island. Seas of 1 to 1.5 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, with waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel, Finschhafen, and with waters of Long Island to Madang, Bogia to Wewak, Aitape to Vanimo, and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas of 1.5 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitias and Dampier Straits to CIC Islands and Long Island, seas of 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of New Ireland to East New Britain to North Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. And waters of West New Britain to South Bougainville, seas of 1.5 to 3 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas in the Coral Sea, seas moderate with southeast winds at 15 to 20 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas rough with southeast winds at 25 to 34 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas rough with southeast winds at 25 to 34 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight with southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's how it is in the news, sport and weather for today, Tuesday, the 21st of August 2018. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team around the country, pleasant viewing and good night.